गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्ते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। So we are happy to resume our Bhagavad Gita discussions, which are for long now almost, because many other things came up, and that's how we missed this series. So we are back again in this. Just a minute. Okay. So I can share the screen.
Yes, Prabhu, I'll give you right one.
सर आपने याद किया अनिल सर क्या हाल सर? बढ़िया फर्स्ट क्लास सर।
You are able to hear, you are able to see the PPT.
Yes, Prabhuji, we can see.
Visible. Now we can see.
You are seeing the, if I change the things, you are not able to see. So we had, so this was the last time discussion happened that person who has taken to the path of spirituality, but then because of his incapacity, because of his kind of lack of time or whatever, if he is not able to perfect, then what happens to such a imperfect yogi? That he has started on the path of yoga, he has started connecting to God, but then he is not able to complete that process in one life. And then the death comes before his perfection. What happens to him? What happens to his perfection? And that is a very important question, because anywhere we want to invest our time, energy, money, we always calculate. We don't put our money in any bank without understanding what is the interest rate, without understanding what is the credibility of the bank, without understanding the experience of other people who are working in that bank. Without checkup of all these things, we don't invest in any bank generally. So here now, any practicing sadhaka has to invest his time, energy in some yoga. Then also he will check up. He will have a critical analysis of the process. So this question is coming from that critical analysis of Arjuna, that he's trying to understand what happens in case there is a problem. Like when you go for booking a ticket, either in plane or in railway or something like that, you see that along with ticket booking, there are proper guidelines for cancelling the ticket also. What if you cancel the ticket? How much is the return? If you cancel the ticket 24 hours before, what happens? If you cancel the ticket 5 days before, what happens? So the guidelines are very clear, so that the ticket booking person gets some kind of confidence to go ahead. That okay, even if I come to know just 2 days before, then I can cancel it and then I'll get this much return. So similarly, when we are practicing Krishna consciousness, or somebody is practicing Ashtanga yoga, or practicing Karma yoga, or practicing Jnana yoga, then Arjuna is asking, he has booked a ticket, but because of some emergency or because of some problem, he is not able to continue on that path. Then what? What happens to such a person? So Krishna is giving very clear-cut understanding that what happens to such a imperfect, unfinished yoga. What is the outcome? So, the 42nd shloka, all of you can also repeat. You are able to see this? So you all can,
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
you can repeat after me. अथवा योगिनामेव
अथवा योगिनामेव
कुले भवति धीमताम्
कुले भवति धीमताम्
एतद्धि दुर्लभतरम्
एतद्धि दुर्भतरम्
लोके जन्म यदीदृशम्.
लोके जन्म यदीदृशम्.
Okay, somebody can read the translation loudly so that everybody can hear.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, can I read?
Yes, please.
Or if unsuccessful after long practice of yoga, he takes his birth in a family of transcendentalists who are surely great in wisdom. Certainly, such a birth is rare in this world.
Yeah. So Prabhupada writes very nicely in the purport. Can you please read?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, should I read?
Yes.
But in a family of yogis or transcendentalists, those with great wisdom is praised herein because of the child born in such a family receives a spiritual impetus from the very beginning of his life. It is especially the case in the Acharya or Goswami families. Such families are very learned and devoted by tradition and training, and thus they become spiritual masters. In India, there are many such Acharya families, but they have not degenerated due to insufficient education and training. By the grace of Lord, there are still families that foster transcendentalists generation after generation. It is certainly very fortunate to take birth in such families. Fortunately, both are spiritual masters. Om Vishnu Pada Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj and our humble self had the opportunity to take birth in such families by the grace of the Lord. And both of us were trained in the devotional service of the Lord from the very beginning of our lives. Later on, we met by the order of the transcendental system.
So here Prabhupada is talking that how when somebody is born in a very devoted family, from the beginning of his life, he comes in touch with Krishna because his mother, father, they are devotees. From the birth, he takes prasad only, nothing else. From the birth only, he starts chanting Hare Krishna. From the birth only, he starts going to the temple. So that is a sign that he has done enough devotional service in his last life. And as a result, now, just to finish that remaining part of devotional perfection, he has taken birth in a very nice devoted family where he don't have to search and do extra endeavors to come for Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is at home only. So such souls are very fortunate and they are coming from very nice spiritual practices in their last life. So that's how we see in this case, when we see that such unsuccessful attempt in the transcendental field, they are again born in a very devotee families. Like that. Okay, so now we chant this 43rd verse. Tatra buddhi sanyogam
Tatritam
तत्रं बुद्धिसंयोगं
labhate parvadehikam
ते पौर्वदेहिकं
yatate cha tato bhuyah
तते च ततो भूयः
संसिद्धौ कुरु नन्दन.
संसिद्धौ कुरु नन्दन.
Somebody can read it loudly. Somebody else.
Yeah, Prabhuji, I will read. Translation. On taking such a birth, he revives the divine consciousness of his previous life, and he again tries to make further progress in order to achieve complete success. O son of Kuru.
Yeah.
Shall I continue?
Yes, please.
Purport. King Bharata, who took his third birth in the family of a good Brahmana, is an example of good birth for the revival of the previous transcendental. Can you please scroll down? Yeah. Transcendental consciousness. King Bharata was the emperor of the world, and since this time, this planet has been known among the demigods as Bharatvarsha. Formerly, it was known as Ilavarta Varsha. The emperor, at an early age, retired for spiritual perfection but failed to achieve success. In his next life, he took birth in the family of a good Brahmana and was known as always remained secluded and did not talk to anyone. And later on, he was covered. He was discovered as the greatest transcendentalist by King Raghugana. From his life, it is understood that transcendental endeavor or the practice of yoga never uh, never go in vain. By the grace of the Lord, the transcendentalist gets separated. Sorry. By the grace of the Lord, the transcendentalist gets repeated opportunities for complete perfection in Krishna consciousness as they surrender unto me.
Yeah. So here Prabhupada is giving example of Bharat Maharaj. So he is the same Bharat Maharaj on whose name our Bharat comes of the nation. So this Bharat Varsha comes by this name of Bharata. This Bharat Maharaj is different than Bharat, brother of Lord Ram. That is different. This Bharat is different. So this Bharat was very powerful king. He ruled the earth for many years. And when he understood that the spiritual life is very important, then he retired from his kingly occupation and then went to the forest. So in forest he was performing tapasya, his yajna, his sadhana. One day in the forest, by the providence, he saw that there is he had gone to the riverside and then he heard huge, very frightening roar of a lion. And then he saw that just next to him only there was one deer drinking water. And the roar of the lion was so sudden and so fierce, and it was quite close. So that deer became so fearful, and as a reflex, he just jumped from that small stream of water. And as she jumped, the deer was pregnant. And then, because of that jerk and because of that fear, the deer, which was pregnant, gave birth to a baby deer. And that deer fell in the water in the process of jump. So she was so fearful and the jerk was so heavy that she had a miscarriage. And this was all happening in front of Bharat Maharaj. So deer ran away and then went that side, and then because of that whole thing, she just fell dead. So now Bharat Maharaj could see that the small baby deer is there drowning in the water, and mother is already dead. So feeling very kind of concern, feeling very pity for that small deer, he took that deer and came to his ashram. And then he started taking care of that deer. But then taking care of that deer became such a big botheration for him that slowly he forgot his purpose in coming to the forest. Now instead of chanting his mantras, he started taking care of the deer only. When he used to go for doing yajna, the deer used to come and sit next to him and touch him gently. And then he used to feel compelled to take care of the deer. So then he will leave the yajna in between only and then feed the deer. Sometimes the deer will miss kind of, it will not come back only from the forest. So he will become very worried where this deer has gone, and had some tiger ate him, or he has forgotten the way, and he will be waiting there in his ashram for the deer. Previously, he was waiting for Krishna to come. Previously, he was chanting mantras of Krishna, but now he was chanting the deer's name. He was feeling that this deer is so nice. He is just like my prince only. And he needs me so much. And there is nobody other than me for his care. So like that he started feeling. And one day this deer was missing, was not coming only. He became so frantic, became so tensed. So he himself went out with great stress and tension. He was searching the deer everywhere. And he was cursing himself that maybe because of my past sins, this deer has been lost. And then I'm only person to be held responsible for this. And he was cursing himself, and he was practically speaking like a madman when he was searching that deer. He was feeling that he was asking the moon whether have you seen my deer. And when he was going from place to place, he was asking other animals that where is this deer, have you seen it? So he was so much emotionally in trauma that at one point of time, because of the fatigue and because of this emotional trauma, he just fell. And he was about to leave his body. And when he was about to leave his body, somehow, by chance, the deer came just next to him. And looking at the deer, he left his body. And as Bhagwad Gita says, Antakale chamameva smaran mukta kalevaram yaprayati samadbhavam na yati nastyatra na samshayaha. So Krishna says that at the time of death, in whatever consciousness one leaves his body, he attains that type of consciousness, that type of body he attains. So because at the time of death he was remembering and seeing this deer, the next life of Bharat Maharaj also became a deer. So this great king and great yogi, very advanced, but because at the end of his life he thought of deer, his next life became deer. But then this was not an ordinary deer. He was a very special deer who remembered his past life. You can imagine, deer remembering that he was a king and then he was there in Himalayas, and then he was taking care of a deer, and now he has become a deer. So this is a very dear pastime. Lot of deer comes. So we see that when this whole thing was going on, the deer was very concerned now, because already one lifetime was passed without any perfection. So this deer directly went to the same ashram again in the Himalayas and started staying next to the ashram. All the sadhus in ashram used to see that, oh, this deer is very special. Whenever we chant mantras, whenever we are doing Mangalarti, whenever we are doing any puja, this deer is the first. He comes without any fail. He is always attends all the functions. So they were very happy. They did not know that this is the same Bharat Maharaj. And at the end of that deer's life, when he was thinking of perfection, thinking of the Lord, next life he got promotion and he was born in a very nice Brahmana family. This time Bharat Maharaj was determined not to be distracted to anything else. And then he started behaving as if he was a mad person, so that he will not get any social distraction in any way. People will feel that he is useless and then leave him to himself. And exactly that happened. He was just roaming around like a madman, but thinking about Krishna in the heart. So when he was roaming in the jungle, once the dacoits spot him for giving bali, and they brought him to the Kali's temple, and when they were about to chop his head, they were about to kill him in front of Kali. Kali became so angry that they have got this great devotee of Krishna and then they're killing. So Kali came, burst open the murti, and the Kali personally came out of that murti and chopped the head of all the pujaris and all the dacoits, like that. And then Bharat Maharaj, without much response, he just walked off from there. So this Bharat Maharaj gave a very nice understanding to King Rahugana when he met him. So this shows that because he couldn't achieve perfection, then he became the deer, and then again he became Brahmana, and then he achieved perfection. 3 years back, there was a very famous news in Maharashtra. If you know, in Maharashtra, many Varkaris, the devotees of Lord Vithala, they go from place to place walking thousands of kilometers sometimes to Pandharpur. In kind of great procession they go. They have a palanquin and then they carry that palanquin to, and such many palanquin from many parts of Maharashtra, many other parts of Karnataka and many places they come. So there was a news that at one such group, one deer had accompanied. Generally the deers are very, they don't come generally near to humans. They are very shy. They are very, even if they see some human being, they run away. But here, this came in the news also, that this deer used to walk along with this Varkaris, and wherever the Varkaris used to stay in the tent, he also used to sit nearby only. And when they used to have kirtans, he will also come in the kirtan and sit there. So this was featured in one of the news channel. So we see now also today this happening. That so this shows that this deer cannot be ordinary. Surely he must be a very nice devotee or some great sadhaka, but then he has still not finished his perfection. Because of some mistake, because of something, he has landed up in the body of deer. But then, as a deer also, he is very devoted, and he's very eager to be in the association of devotees like that. So that shows that that gives us a hope, that gives us a guarantee that Lord takes care of our spiritual life. That is not lost. Whatever we do now is not lost. Anything material what we have, whether it is a money, whether it is position, whether it is power, at the time of death, that becomes nil. But devotional service doesn't become nil. That is carried forward to the next life. So that's what we see here, that so the unsuccessful yogi is given next chance like that. Okay, this is done. So now comes as a lesson 4. And here is the description of a yogi. Who is a yogi? So, can you please repeat this? Okay. Okay, you please repeat after me. तपस्विभ्योऽधिको योगी
तपस्विभ्योऽधिको योगी
ज्ञानिभ्योऽपि मतोऽधिकः
ज्ञानिभ्योऽपि मतोऽधिकः
कर्मिभ्यश्चाधिको योगी
कर्मिभ्यश्चाधिको योगी
तस्माद् योगी भवार्जुन
तस्माद् योगी भवार्जुन.
Somebody can read translation, somebody else?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes.
A yogi is greater than the ascetic, greater than the empiricist, and greater than the fruitative worker. Therefore, O Arjuna, in all circumstances, be a yogi.
Yeah.
So, shall I continue?
Yeah, you can.
Very less is visible.
No, I'll come down.
When we speak of yoga, we refer to linking our consciousness with the supreme absolute truth. Such a process is named differently by various practitioners in terms of the particular method adopted. When the linking process is predominantly in fruitative activities, it is called karma yoga. When it is predominantly empirical, it is called yajna yoga.
Jnana yoga.
Jnana yoga. And when it is Jnana yoga, Prabhuji. Jnana yoga, Jnana yoga. Jnana yoga.
Jnana.
Jnana yoga. When it is predominantly In a devotional relationship with the Supreme Lord, it is called Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga or Krishna consciousness is the ultimate perfection of all yogis, as will be explained in the next verse. The Lord has confirmed herein the superiority of yoga, but he has not mentioned that it is better than Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is full spiritual knowledge, and therefore nothing can excel it. Asceticism without self-knowledge is imperfect. Empiric knowledge without surrender is the Supreme Lord is also imperfect. And spiritual work without Krishna consciousness is a waste of time. Therefore, the most highly praised form of yoga performance mentioned here is Bhakti Yoga. And this is still more clearly explained in the next verse.
Okay, so this verse shows that the last verse talks about that yogi is far better than karma yogi, jnana yogi, or dhyana yogi, or things like that. It is so now here 47th shloka. What is the highest yogi that is described by Krishna? You please all can repeat. Yoginam api sarvesham
योगिनाम् अपि सर्वेषां
madgatenantaratmana
तेनान्तरात्मना
श्रद्धावान bhajate yo mam tame yuktatamo mataha. Somebody else can read loudly for everybody.
Yeah, I will read Prabhuji. Translation. And of all yogis, the one with great faith who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself, and renders transcendental loving service to me. He is the most intimately united with me in yoga and is highest of all. That is my opinion. Purport. Can you just scroll down, Prabhuji?
Yes, I have done it.
I'm not able to see any line. Yeah. The word bhajante is significant here. Bhajante has its root in the verb bhaja, which is used when there is need of service. The English word worship cannot be used in the same sense as bhaja. Worship means to adore or to show respect and honor to the worthy one. But service with love and faith is specially meant for the supreme personality of Godhead. One can avoid worshipping a respectable man or a demigod and may be called discourteous. But one cannot avoid serving the Supreme Lord without being thoroughly condemned. Every living entity is part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Can you scroll down? And thus, every living entity is intended to serve the Supreme Lord by his own constitution. Failing to do this, he falls down. The Bhagavatam 11.5.3 confirms this as follows. Yo esham purusham sakshat atma prabhavam ishwaram na bhajantya avajananti sthanat vrasah patantya adah. Everyone who does not render service and neglects his duty unto the primeval Lord, one who is the source of all living entities, will certainly fall down from his constitutional position. In this verse, also the word bhajanti is used. Therefore, bhajanti is applicable to the Supreme Lord only, whereas the word worship can be applied to demigods or to any other common living entity. The word avajananti used in this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam is also found in the Bhagwad Gita. Avajananti mama mudaha, Bhagavad Gita 9.11. Only the fools and rascals deride the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Krishna said, such fools, uh, such fools take it upon themselves to write commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita without an attitude of service to the Lord. Consequently, they cannot properly distinguish between the word bhajanti and the word worship. The culmination of all kinds of yoga practices lies in bhakti yoga. All other yogas are but means to come to the point of bhakti in the bhakti yoga. Yoga actually means bhakti yoga. All other yogas are progressions towards the destination of bhakti yoga. From all the beginning of karma yoga to the end of bhakti yoga is a long way to self-realization. Karma yoga without fruitive.
Yeah. So when we are here, Prabhupada is making one differentiation. Prabhupada is telling that the bhajati, this word comes, bhajanti ananya manaso, or wherever the word bhaja comes, तो जहां पे भी ये भज वर्ड आता है भगवद गीता में, प्रभुपाद बोल रहे हैं कि ये भज जो वर्ड है उसका ट्रांसलेशन इंग्लिश में करते हैं वर्शिप, लेकिन प्रभुपाद बोल रहे हैं यहाँ पे कि वो जो ट्रांसलेशन है वर्शिप वाला, दैट इज नॉट गुड, दैट इज नॉट प्रॉपर। क्यों? क्योंकि वर्शिप और भजन में बहुत फर्क है, वर्शिप और भक्ति में बहुत फर्क है। एक होता है पूजा, एक होता है भक्ति। पूजा है ना, वो आप किसी का भी कर सकते हो, आप पूजा किसी व्यक्ति का भी कर सकते हो, आप पूजा किसी देवता का कर सकते हो, आप पूजा किसी प्राइम मिनिस्टर का भी पूजा कर सकते हो। लेकिन जो भक्ति होता है वो सिर्फ भगवान कृष्ण का ही होता है। तो जहाँ पे भक्ति आता है वो भक्ति सिर्फ भगवान के लिए है, बाकी लोगों के लिए पूजा शब्द इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं। तो ये फर्क है पूजा में और भक्ति में, तो दोनों एक नहीं है। तो जब हम बोलते हैं भक्त होना, भक्त मतलब भगवान का भक्त, तो बाकी जो है वो हम वी आर गिविंग रिस्पेक्ट और डूइंग सम सर्विस। लेकिन जो भक्ति है, दैट वर्ब इज यूज्ड मेनली फॉर कृष्ण, लाइक दैट। तो यहाँ पे भगवान बता रहे हैं कि योगिनाम अपि सर्वेषां मद गतेनांतरात्मना श्रद्धावान भजते यो मां, कि जो श्रद्धा पूर्वक पूर्ण हृदय से मेरा स्मरण करता है निरंतर, विदाउट एनी गैप, ऐसा जो योगी है वो सबसे प्रिय है मुझे। तो यहाँ पे हम देखते हैं कि जो अलग अलग प्रकार के योगी पहले हमने देखा था, जो कर्म योगी होता है वो भगवान का ध्यान नहीं करता है, वो सोचता है कि मैं ये कुछ आध्यात्मिक चीज करूंगा और उससे मुझे बहुत पुण्य प्राप्त होगा, वो पुण्य से मुझे बहुत सारे क्रेडिट्स प्राप्त होंगे, फिर आगे जाके मेरा जीवन विल बी कंफर्टेबल, हैप्पी। तो उसका ध्यान भगवान के ऊपर ज्यादा नहीं होता है, उसका ध्यान वो जो प्रैक्टिस है उससे जो भौतिक सुख आने वाला है उसके ऊपर उसका ज्यादा ध्यान होता है। तो उसको कर्म कांड बोलते हैं। हम देखते हैं ये दुनिया में बहुत सारे लोग पूजा करते हैं, यज्ञ करते हैं, अलग अलग प्रकार के अनुष्ठान करते हैं, तो वो भक्ति के अंदर नहीं आएगा। क्यों? क्योंकि उनका जो गोल होता है वो भगवान का सेवा नहीं होता। वो कितना भी मंत्र तंत्र वगैरह सब करके करे, लेकिन वो भक्ति नहीं है। वो क्योंकि उनका गोल अलग है। तो अगर किसी अनुष्ठान का गोल अपना स्वार्थ कमाना है तो फिर वो उससे भक्ति नहीं होता है। और कोई वैदिक वेद भी पढ़ रहा है, लेकिन अगर उसका गोल भगवान का सेवा नहीं है तो ऐसा ज्ञान भी भक्ति नहीं कहलाता। बहुत सारे योगी हैं जो हिमालय में जाके बहुत तपस्या करते हैं, आज भी है, बर्फ में जाकर रहते हैं, लेकिन अगर वो भगवान को प्रसन्न करने के लिए नहीं कर रहे हैं, भगवान से कनेक्टेड नहीं है, तो वो भी ज्यादा भगवान को प्रसन्न नहीं करता है, तो वो भी भक्ति में नहीं आएगा। तो यहाँ पे बोल रहे हैं कि ऐसा भक्त जो मुझे शरणागत होता है वो ज्यादा प्रिय है मुझे। तो हमको ये 6 चैप्टर से एक समझ में आता है एंड में कि हमको भक्ति योगी बनना है, क्योंकि यही चीज है जो भगवान को बहुत प्रसन्नता देता है। वी बिकम डियर टू कृष्णा बाय भक्ति, नॉट बाय एनी अदर प्रोसेस। और कृष्णा अलग एक और जगह पे क्लियरली बोलते हैं, भक्त्या माम अभिजानाति यावान यश्चास्मि तत्वतः, कि मुझे कौन जान सकता है, तो बोलते हैं भक्त ही जानता है। वो ये नहीं बोलते कि कोई कर्म करने वाला जानता है या कोई बहुत बड़ा ज्ञानी है वो जानता है, नहीं, भगवान बोलते हैं एक ही व्यक्ति मुझे जानता है और वो है भक्त। जो मेरा भक्ति करता है वही मुझे तत्वतः पूर्णतः जानता है। Okay, so that's how we complete the 6th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, called as a Dhyana Yoga. So congratulations that you have completed the first 6 chapters. Okay, any questions? Okay, are we having any quiz?
Prabhuji, I was just trying to reach out Avish Prabhu, but he is not picking up. Actually, he was supposed to join a little late, but so I think I think we can try next time.
Okay. Okay, so thank you all very much for joining this Saturday program. Next time we'll start with the 7th chapter, which is first 6 chapters are the cover of Bhagavad Gita. Last 6 chapters are back cover of the Bhagavad Gita. The middle 6 chapters are the essence. So 7 to 12 chapters, that is the core Bhagavad Gita principle, that is bhakti. So bhakti yoga is very nicely described by Krishna in this 7 to 12 chapters. That's why we find that many people, they memorize these chapters. Generally, this 12th chapter is memorized by many, I have seen. So we'll start 7th chapter from tomorrow, next time, next Saturday. Okay. Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी।
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
प्रभु जी आज क्विज कंपटीशन होने वाला है प्रभु जी
आज नहीं हो पाएगा माता जी, सॉरी।
ओके, क्या
जो मैनेज कर रहे हैं वो प्रभु जी ज्वाइन ही नहीं किया आज, उन्होंने एब्सेंट लगा दिया।
क्वेश्चन बैंक तो उनको दिया था।
यस माता जी, क्वेश्चन बैंक उनको दिया था, बट काबूत का पिन वगैरह जो था वो सेट करके उनके पास रखा है। So he's completely missing now. I'll ask him to join next time, one time. Yeah. Okay. We should loudly chant 3 times Haribol for Prabhuji.
Hari Bol.
Hari
Hari
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank you so much.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.